Dumb,
and weird.
podcast. All right, folks, this is episode 12 of the Dumb, Cool, Weird podcast. Today we're going to be talking about alcohol addiction and just general drug addiction, which is something I've dealt with and Nick has dealt with a little bit as well.
Not so much the drugs, just the booze.
Yeah, I've dealt with both. So, let's just get right into it.
All right.
So, I've I've actually started drinking when I was 15 years old. I was at a party. I was a pretty popular guy in the school I went to, and we had a really big party at my house, and we had close to 100 people there, and that was the first time I ever tried alcohol. I think it was wine was my first drink.
Yeah.
This girl had. I took a big swig of her bottle, and then my friend brought Bacardi. Had some of that.
You went for the white trash trio there.
Yep. And it gets even better. If we're going for the trio, I had Natty Light.
Yeah, you had the white trash trio.
Yep. So I thought the beer tasted like shit. I thought the wine was very weird tasting, and the Bacardi tasted like straight up fucking, like it hurt my throat. What?
Was it boxed wine?
No.
So you had bottled
It
wine.
was Arbor Mist.
Yeah, it was fancy white trash wine.
Yep. So I think it was like blackberry Arbor Mist.
Ew.
So it took me about a year before I really acquired a taste for beer, though. And the beer that we would always drink was either Bud Light, Coors Light, Miller Light, or Natty Light. Those were like the four go-to for us because it was just the easiest to find because our parents always had those beers on stock in the fridge. You know, my buddy Eric, his dad was a bit of an alcoholic, and my dad was a bit of an alcoholic, so they always had alcohol like in their fridges. So if we were at my dad's house, we'd drink my dad's beer. If we were at Eric's house, we'd drink Eric's dad's beer. That was kind of the thing we would do.
You know, it's amazing though when you have like when you have like an older person in charge of you who is an alcoholic. The best part about them being the alcoholic while you're a kid is the fact that you can drink their stuff, and then they could be like, "Have you been drinking my beer?" You'd be like, "Nah, Dad, you got shithoused again." I was like, "You know what? Maybe I did. Maybe I did."
Well, my dad, he would drink Southpaw, and so do you remember that beer?
No, but it sounds like a drunk boxer.
Oh yeah. So Southpaw was a shitty fucking beer from mainly the 90s, and they quit making it in like 2008, I think. But it was very popular back then. I mean, they also had Red Dog too.
Red Dog.
Yeah, Red Dog was really bad beer too. But my dad had Southpaw, and my buddy Eric, his dad, had Miller Lite. So most of the time we were either drinking Miller Lite or Southpaw because that's what my dad had. So
I remember we used to steal my buddy's dad's Heinekens because he was a belligerent alcoholic. Mm-hmm. So what would happen would be like he'd say, I know you guys are drinking. And I'm like, no, we're not. You've been drinking again.
Well, the funny thing is the biggest peer pressure for us is the women would always talk us into getting alcohol for them because, you know, when beautiful women are like, hey, get the alcohol, we're like, well, God, now we got to get it, you know, because that's been my biggest downfall my whole life. There's been times in my life where I've completely quit drinking for like 6 months. And then I meet a hot girl, and the hot girl's like, get drunk with me. I'm like, all right. And then I get fucked up with her and then end up having like the best sex I've ever had in my life. And then I'm like, damn, I forgot how much alcohol enhances fucking sex. And then I'll fucking start drinking again just because I love how freaky shit gets when I'm like drunk, you know?
Dude, have you ever heard of the Boss Hog Challenge? It was the Boss Hog Challenge or something from It's Always Sunny? Mm-mm. Where you could see who could drink like the most beers because it was like the baseball player apparently drank like 3 cases of beers and then like ate 2 chickens and went to a game and scored so many home runs.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
I didn't know that was real either, but Charlie Day was talking about it. So one New Year's, my buddies came over to my house when I was in like Jacksonville, and it was 4 a.m. in the morning on a 4-day weekend when they showed up, and we drank the second that they got in. My buddy Scott pulls out a bottle of Jack Daniels, pours shots. And they also had beers as well. So we're sipping beers at 4 a.m. 4 a.m. Just getting shithoused. I was out on my front lawn without my shirt like by 6 a.m.
Oh shit.
and wearing like no pants, like not real pants, just silkies.
Silkies, huh?
And dude, like like what I loved about the silkies is that like it cradles your balls good, but you can definitely see the penis real hard in that thing. And people keep passing by my house, like watching us be belligerent drunks at 6 in the morning.
Yeah.
On a Saturday.
How fun.
Yeah, it was great though. And then later on that weekend, because it was New Year's weekend, we decided that we were going to do this challenge. My wife ends up winning this because we are too shit-housed. And so she's been like playing the long game. She's just drinking slow and fast all at the same time. And we've just been like trying to chug as many beers as we could within the first hour. And that's when you realize you're an alcoholic, most likely.
Yeah. I didn't really realize I had an alcohol problem until I was like 24, though. It just wasn't really on my radar. But I mean, I think all my friends and stuff that we had in high school, I think we all had like an alcohol problem. We just didn't know it. I mean, I think that's how we coped with our weird ass like childhood and like the way we grew up, because like, I don't know, me and my friends, we had a lot of fucking freedom to do whatever we wanted, because if we weren't at my buddy Eric's house with his family, because down in the basement there was his parents just didn't know what we were doing. We'd be at my dad's house or my mom's house or my friend John's house. Yeah, my friend John had to be a little bit more coy about it because like his parents
they cared
maybe a little bit too much. They were very controlling. I remember one night we stayed at John's house. It was like 5 or 6 of us. We stayed at John's house, and John like comes in the room and goes, "Hey, you guys want to drink?" And we're like, "Duh!" And so we went outside, and I was like, "Well, what are we doing outside?" He's like, "Well, we can't drink inside." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, your parents are weird." And he was like, "Yeah." He's like, "But we're gonna drink outside." I'm like, "Okay." So we went out to his truck, and he gets out a shovel, and he's like, "Okay, we got to dig up the beer." And I'm like,
Jesus.
I was like, my friend Murphy looks at him and goes, "Dude, you could have just put it in a cooler and put it somewhere. You don't have to fucking like bury it." And he's just like, "Well, I just didn't want to take any chances." I'm like, "All right." So we found like where the ground was soft. We dug up the beer. The fucking asshole didn't even put it in a bag or anything. He just put the beer in the ground. So we're sitting here trying to wipe off the beer so we can drink it. But it was like Bud Light,
The most janky of beers.
Yeah, pretty much. But I mean, we were like 16, dude. We didn't give a fuck.
Yeah, when you're 16, you don't care about that shit.
We just wanted to drink, And I'll never forget, I was a senior in high school, so I was 17. And I went, like, I don't know, like, we went to school with a lot of Mormons, and Mormons are so against drinking.
Yeah.
And I remember I went to an island party, and man, there were so many fucking hot chicks there. And I was there, and like, I was making out with this one girl, and I had a beer in my hand. I was sitting on the beach, and my friend James Tacey calls me. He's a Mormon that I play football with, and he goes, "Wes, I heard you're at that party." He's like, "You shouldn't be drinking. It's really bad for you." And I looked at it, I was like, "Dude," I was like, "Well, if you're gonna call me, you might as well call Josh. You might as well call all these other motherfuckers, because there's like 20 of us here that are on the football team." And he's like, "Yeah, I get that, but you and Josh and the other guys, the other 2 guys, y'all are the only starters." And I'm just like, "That are there. We don't care about those other people." And I'm like, "Oh, okay."
Well then.
And I was like, "All right." And he was just like, he's like, "I don't like that you guys are drinking." I'm like, "Dude, the game's over, dude. It's fucking Friday night. We already played. I'm getting toasted, dude." I told him, I was like, "I'll be fine by Monday." I was like, "I'm not going to drink the rest of the weekend," even though that was a fat fucking lie.
That was a lie. Dude, when I'm trying to remember a good one here, but I remember when somebody flat out basically made me realize I was an alcoholic was when I was on duty in the barracks. And one of my buddies came up to me, and he was talking about how somebody was complaining about, I feel like I'm becoming an alcoholic. And he's like, "You're not an alcoholic. Nick's an alcoholic. This man could drink a case of beer in a night and show up for PT completely fine. That's a functioning alcoholic." And I was like, "Geez, damn. Thanks, Hank. Thank you for putting my problems on the spot there for everyone else to see but me."
Really didn't have a hangover at all?
No.
That's not normal, dude.
No, I'm telling you, I became a functioning alcoholic.
That's kind of scary.
No, dude, like that's normal for the Marine Corps.
I couldn't do that, man. If I got drunk like that and woke up the next morning, I wouldn't be able to show up to work at all.
You see, this is where we're very, very different people.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, maybe when I was younger, I could have done that, but now, if I tried to do that, I'd die.
Dude, I was like Japanese businessman drunk.
Oh. Shit, okay. Honestly, man, I've been sober. I haven't had a drink in like 4 months now, and I feel pretty good, dude.
That's good.
Yeah, it's been a while. I don't know. I just don't want to do it anymore, man. I don't want to smoke weed either. I don't want to do anything, man. Nothing really like excites me like that anymore. You know, I mean, I started smoking marijuana when I was like 17. I remember, I'll never forget that. We were at Eric's house again, of course.
Eric's house is the place of stories.
I know. I've seriously told like, what, 9 stories now about Eric's house?
Yeah, dude. Dude, that's what happened to my house, though, when I was in Jacksonville and everything. It was like my place was where stories were made, or like you had my buddy Trevor and my buddy Morgan. They're the ones who had the party house. It wasn't supposed to be the party house, but
Ended up being the party house.
Yeah.
No.
Unfortunately, you know what's crazy about having a party house, though?
What's up?
Like for those two, was that they had to make sure that people understood that they weren't supposed to steal anything from the house.
Okay.
Dude, this was the funniest shit ever, though. One night, we all got pretty fucking boozed up, and we had this fat guy over named Wiggle. Yeah, guy's name was Wiggle.
Okay.
I don't know his real name. Don't care for it. This is where it gets better. He ate all of the people's food when they passed out. Then he shit in the bathtub. But this is where it gets better.
Okay.
He wrote on the wall in his own feces. And he gave everybody a time of when he was going to be back.
Is that what he wrote on the wall?
Yeah, he said, "We'll be back later at 3 p.m.
Did he come back at 3 p.m.?
He did. He came back on time.
I would have kicked his ass.
No, this is where it gets even funnier. He blamed it on the dog.
I would have whipped his ass. I would have beat him to a fucking
I think they did beat his ass, but like he blamed the dog.
That's really stupid.
Yeah, because the dog was able to like shit in the bathtub, make human poops of all things, a giant human dump in the bathtub, and then decided, I'm gonna write on the fucking wall. You see, we might be alcoholics to a certain degree, but this guy was fucked up wrong.
Yeah, I mean, that's really weird, dude. Yeah, I don't think I know anybody that's ever done anything like that. I just the only thing I really remember is we went to John's house one time, and his little brother Russ had a friend over, and his little brother Russ's friend smelled like straight up asshole. Like,
Yeah.
He smelled like shit, and it turns out that he crapped his pants, and he didn't want to get up and go to the bathroom because he was playing video games. I was like, what the fuck is this kid doing?
I feel like that's a common thing with a lot of people for some reason. And I don't know why. Like that. Like why?
Just go, fucking go, dude.
Pause the game.
Go take a shit, dude. Like, God, I fucking I get excited when I gotta take a dump, dude. You know?
Yeah.
I'm ready to go.
Ooh, a bowel movement.
I'm ready to get that out, dude. I don't know. I just thought that was weird,
dude. You know what's funny about this as well is that there was a guy that used to show up at the parties, and he was a drug addict and an alcoholic at the age of 16. And like, we're talking so bad. You remember when they used to when they had that spice epidemic because kids were smoking that spice from the gas stations?
Yeah, I did.
He was addicted to smoking the shit out of that stuff.
Oh, nice.
And this is where it gets really funny. We told this man there's like literally a bathroom inside, or you could literally just pull your pants down and piss in the yard. This man pissed his pants every time. And eventually, my buddy Trevor's like, Jacob, I swear to God, do not piss your pants again. Go inside. After he said that, this guy Jacob shits his pants. He's like he made the weird face of like the whole like, ugh. And we're like, what did you do? What did you do? And he's like, I just shit myself.
Why?
This Dude, we don't know. The guy's fucking brains must have been toasted. He used to huff paint thinner.
Wouldn't be a lot at my house.
You know, we all draw a line at meth, heroin, and paint thinner.
No, that's bad, dude. I don't know, man. That's weird.
Right? That's some really fucked up shit, huh?
Yeah. It sounds like some, man, thought I did
We
too.
all thought we were bad, right?
Yeah, that's pretty bad. I don't know, man. I know, like I said, like I was saying earlier, the first time I ever smoked weed, I was at Eric's house, and we went outside. My friend had this thing called a steamroller. It's a thing you smoke weed out of.
Yep.
And my buddy was smoking it in a circle, and I went out there. I was like, hey, what are you guys doing? They're like, oh, we're smoking weed. I was like, oh, weed is bad for you. And my friend Phil was like, no, it's not. And I go, okay, I'll try some. Didn't really take much effort to get me to try some. So I took a big fucking hit of this steamroller, and I'm just like, I don't feel shit. And he's like, oh, give it some time. And about 20 minutes later, I was fucking high as shit. I was laying on the ground inside laughing at nothing. And people thought that shit was so funny because my laugh was just so intense. I just thought everything was funny.
That's good.
Yeah. So that was like my first experience smoking weed. It was good. It was a good experience. Like no anxiety. I actually didn't really have anxiety from smoking weed until I turned about 23.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting because like I remember when I was at West Georgia, I went to my buddy's house and he was in a fraternity. And man, we were passing around like 4 different pieces, and his fraternity brothers were all smoking weed. I was smoking weed, and we got really high. And I never really got anxiety back then either because I was only like 19. And I remember one of the older fraternity brothers comes in there. He goes, give me like the biggest thing you got. And Murphy was like, I don't know about that. You don't really smoke weed. And he goes, give it to me. And we're like, all right. This guy takes this bong and fucking rips the whole thing, holds it in his lungs for like 5 seconds, and then blows it out. And he goes, puh! And he like hits the ground, and like he's out. He's out cold. And we're just like, whoa.
You know you're desperate in life when you start smoking the stems and the seeds.
Yeah. I've smoked the stems and the seeds and before, and it gives you like a really bad headache.
Yeah.
I hate it.
Bad to go.
Yeah, pretty much. But to talk about the addiction thing, I actually got to the point where I was smoking so much fucking weed that I thought I fried my brain at one time because I was smoking weed every day. I was taking little hits throughout the day, and by the time I was like 21, 22, I was like smoking weed on the regular, like every day.
You actually were, like, people don't realize that, but you could really get addicted to weed on the psychological level.
Yeah, because I liked being high. Because everything, I don't know, when you're young like that and you're smoking weed, like everything seems cooler when you're like really high. It also didn't help that I was dating somebody who liked smoking weed just as much as I did. My ex-girlfriend Alina loved smoking weed like I did, and we'd get high and have sex. And sex when you're fucking high is like really,
That's pretty fun.
really fucking good. And me and her would get super stoned. We'd have sex like for a couple hours, and then we would lay there and we'd be like, oh, I'm so hungry. And then me and her would go eat, and then we'd have sex again, and then we'd watch a movie, and then we would we would just rinse and repeat.
Dude, 69ing on that shit is like great.
Yeah, it was just
Pussy tastes better. I mean, I already like the taste of pussy, but I'm saying like it's one of those things that you like if you're used to having sex high and that's like all you know, I can't imagine what happens like once you get off of that.
yeah. I don't know. I don't do it anymore. I don't know. Like, I'm pretty sure if I smoked it again, I'd probably get horny. I mean, that's what happens when I smoke weed. I just get horny.
Yeah, usually when I drink a Modelo, it gets me in the horny mood.
Alcohol doesn't really make me horny anymore. It just makes me like not want to do anything.
I don't know. I mean, it could I noticed the thing that's bad with myself with alcohol is the fact that I'm one of those people that could like get really set off if you do the wrong thing, because it doesn't take me very much to get pissed off at you if you piss me off while I'm drunk, but in my normal day-to-day life, I'm completely fine. Like, a lot of things usually just don't bother me. But if you piss me off while I'm drunk, you can end up getting like a bottle to your head.
That's no good.
No. Man, like a few weeks ago, I threw a 260-pound man at a wall and almost beat the piss out of him.
I remember you telling me about that.
He had it coming. I mean, at that point though, too, it was like the guy was actually asking for a fight already. Mm-hmm. But like I said, it's like if you sort of escalate the situation while I'm drinking to like a heavy level, that's exactly what you're gonna get.
That makes sense.
It's like if you make me a violent person, you're gonna get what you deserve.
Yeah, you're gonna get violence in return.
Yeah.
Right. That makes sense.
But usually after, like, that's never usually a problem though either, because most of the time when I'm drinking, I'm having fun with like other friends.
Absolutely.
Like last week, I had a buddy come over, and we were bar hopping all around the Gainesville Square. That was fun, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Loads of fun.
it was, because we didn't get fucked up like we got fucked up, but we didn't get fucked up like we used to in the Marine Corps together.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't get so fucked up that we had a homeless guy telling us that, you know, we're irresponsible, and having my friend yell at him, telling him like, "Hey, at least we don't suck dick for our fix."
Oh my god. That's funny as shit. At least we don't suck dick for our fix, bitch.
You know, when a crackhead gets mad because he knows you're right.
Is that what happened?
Yeah.
He
He
got mad.
stormed out in his angry crackhead look. Guy almost looked exactly like, was it Dave Chappelle's like crackhead?
Oh, Tyro Biggums.
Yeah, Tyrone Biggums. He looked like he was about to go outside and have a peanut butter and crack sandwich.
Dude, that's one drug I don't really understand. I've just never, I don't know. There's some, like a lot of hard drugs I've never tried because I don't know, they just don't look good to me, you know?
I don't know, dude. It's like another reason why what I noticed too is that there's a lot of like subcultures that enjoy the act of being ridiculously intoxicated.
Yeah, I mean, I dated people that really liked doing drugs, and I don't know. It was never for me. But they were really into it. They're like, "Ooh, I like doing all these fucking crazy ass drugs," and I'm just like, I don't really like doing drugs like that. I just never really got into it. Like when I was in high school, I went to a party one time and they were about to smoke meth.
Yeah,
And
that's where it gets to the point where you're like,
no, I left. I
Yeah.
I looked at them and I go, "Hey, I think I left something at home." And they're like, "Oh, you're gonna come back?" I was like, "Yeah." Never came back.
you shouldn't.
So
I had somebody when I was drinking one night tell me that heroin's healthy for you as long as you do it in moderation. I was like, what the fuck 1800 wizardry are you talking about, Dr. Bozo?
what kind of snake oil are you selling there, buddy?
You see here, if you just only take heroin about twice a day, you should be fine.
It's fucking stupid. I don't know. I don't understand people. Like, people don't realize that, like, back in the 1800s, man, like, people would literally die in opium dens from sitting there all day because, like, what they would do is they'd get you addicted by smoking it, and then you would get addicted to that body high, and you just wouldn't leave.
You couldn't leave.
Yeah, you just would sit there and just keep smoking opium, dude. You know?
You know what's weird about that though? It's like I could see that working out just fine, you know, today, if your plan was to like get someone addicted to opium and steal their like all their information from their credit card and social security. But like, what was the point of keeping a motherfucker like there all day back in those days? It's like he's smoking your opium and he's just laying there. You're not able to steal anything. Maybe his clothes and like what he had in his wallet. But there's not very much gain there.
I think they would do that as a like a death sentence to some people, if I remember correctly. Like,
because I know the term "shanghaied," like I got shanghaied.
Yeah,
was a popular term because it would, like in Shanghai, a bunch of British sailors would usually get stuck in these opium dens, and they'd wake up on the streets like afterwards with all their shit stolen.
Yeah. And What I mean is like if they wanted to kill somebody, they would stick them in an opium den and they would make them smoke the opium and then they would get addicted and then they would basically sit there until they died because like basically what happened is you get so addicted is you just don't want to fucking
Yeah.
you don't even want to do anything anymore.
The smell of an opium den must have been terrible because like if you didn't know what like want to do anything else, you have to imagine that these dudes were pissing and shitting all over themselves constantly.
Yeah, didn't take a shower, no personal hygiene. Yeah, their teeth must have been really bad.
Yeah, and the worst part is like how low were your standards to go for like an opium whore back in the day?
Pretty low. Because that's what they would do probably is they would get you high on opium and they'd put a bunch of hot girls. Well, I guess
What you thought?
what you thought was a hot girl in the bed with you, and they'd be touching you, and the sensation of them touching you probably felt really nice in conjunction with the opium. So you're just like, oh, this is the pinnacle of my life. Nothing's ever gonna be this good again.
Dies within the hour.
Yeah, dies within the hour.
All right, throw it out. Change the sheets. We're gonna start all over again.
The thing is, like, you know, it's one thing to smoke weed and drink a little bit, but it's another thing to like get into shit like that. I mean, you know, there's a lot of people that like doing hallucinogens like you know, acid and mushrooms too. But I did mushrooms when I was in college one time, and I thought it was okay, but like, I don't know, I just don't like where my mind goes when I do stuff like that. You know,
I just don't see the point anymore in doing in like why this is like sort of the best part of your life is like getting stoned all day. Like, cause I got friends now who that's what they do too. They get stoned all day.
Yeah.
And I mean, I remember back when I was in college, like my first couple of years, that was when like Molly came out. Remember Molly?
Yep. Basically a derivative of
it was the pure form of ecstasy.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And we knew a guy who died in his sleep because of that. I was like, and everyone was like, Molly doesn't kill people. I was like, you're telling me that the most concentrated form of ecstasy isn't going to kill you like ecstasy is? You got to be pretty fucking retarded.
Yep. Got to be careful. And then you got to be careful with certain types of drugs like marijuana because it might be laced with angel dust or something, you know?
Yeah.
And that'll fuck you up too, you know?
It's really weird though. A lot of the people who get out of drug use,
mm-hmm.
and it's not like saying that you don't like have sympathy for a lot of people. It's just that I started realizing that it's like I really don't care anymore that you know you're a drug addict or that you're a recovering drug addict and everything. It's like it got really old real quick from how many times people visit like rehab centers or continuously say, "Oh, I'm gonna get clean now." Yeah. And it's like, well, you know what? It's a great way to stay clean? Changing your life completely and getting away from those influences in your life.
Yeah, just not doing it.
Yeah.
Just don't do it. I mean, that's really all it is. That's all getting clean is just not doing it. And that's the biggest thing because people will talk about, oh, it's this process, it's that process. No, it's just not doing it.
Well, here's the thing I've never understood too, right? People say, you know, that addiction is a genetic thing and it's also a good way to hide trauma, right? Yep. But you know, after a certain like if you're telling me that, you know, addiction is genetic for your family, then why would you surround yourself with that kind of shit in the first place that you know would probably get you down the same road? And,
I don't know.
And then why is it that, you know, it's like people say it's like, oh well, you know, I'm dealing with some trauma in my life. I was like, yeah, that's cool and all, but you can't tell me that this is your answer for everything. You got to be a grown-ass person and finally seek out like real solutions to your problems rather than a substance abuse problem where you're a burden on everybody else.
Yeah. I mean, you know, my sister recently went to rehab this past year and she seems to be doing a lot better, but like she was like out of control too. You know, I mean, people get out of control. They have no control over themselves, and then they just kind of let it go. And
I'm fairly certain my drinking would have killed me if I didn't stop within that first like 6 years to a month that I was out.
Yeah,
because like I said, went up to 250 pounds.
Yeah,
I'd never been that heavy, and I was was like, if I just kept like on that track of drinking as much as like 10 beers a day, almost every day of the week, I'm pretty sure I would have died.
Yep. I mean, I guess 250 would be pretty big for you.
Yeah.
Because, like, I'm 6 feet tall, and when I'm 250, I just look like overweight, But for me, like, an ideal weight for me is like 210, something like that, 210, 200 pounds. That's what I should weigh.
Yeah, when you can't touch your feet without like losing your breath, that's usually a sign.
I've never been that big, dude.
Well, like you said, being 5'5", it's like being 250 is definitely not in the good zone.
No, I mean being 250 at my height is not good either.
Unless you're competing in bodybuilding.
Well, yeah, I mean Arnold Schwarzenegger was 265 pounds at 6'2". That's if you look at the BMI scale, it's apparently according to that he's
obese.
He's obese, but like
You're morbidly obese, Arnold.
yeah. I'm morbidly obese.
Look at me, I'm sad. Let me go eat a cheeseburger.
Well, speaking of drug abuse, that's some serious drug abuse that bodybuilders go through. I mean, you wanted to talk a little bit about testosterone, which is what I take now. And that's been going pretty good. Aside from the reaction I had from the estrogen blockers I was taking, but I came off of those. The testosterone helps. I just, some people really like to take HGH, Anabar and all these other different fucking
D-ball
drugs, and, makes you go through puberty again, and it's not good for you.
No, you're going to have to go get, like, open heart surgery at some point, too.
Yep.
If you do that shit.
Yeah, my porn star Fred, he does HGH. He does HGH, testosterone, and estrogen blockers. I think that's why he had a fucking stroke, dude. That's my opinion. Fight me. Fight me.
You're telling me that all those things could lead to a stroke?
More so, maybe not so much the other two. I really think it was HGH that might have contributed heavily to him having a stroke, if you want my honest opinion. I mean, he also did a lot of drugs too, like cocaine and shit. So, and he also had a family history of high blood pressure, not like elevated, I have a family history of elevated blood pressure, not like super high, but he has a family history of super high blood pressure.
Yeah, and I mean, if we're gonna also go down the road of addiction right now, the biggest thing I've noticed is like with the fat acceptance movement, for example, is you're looking at a bunch of people who have a fast food addiction.
Yep.
And they hide it as fat acceptance. And it's like, no, you're fucking fat. Quit being fat.
Yep.
And it's like, shit. In 12 episodes, we both have had significant change in our life just by changing some things around. We're both like competing in the same way against each other for getting smaller, but we both have our setbacks at times. But
it's a little bit easier for me because I used to be smaller at one time, you know, so like my body's got like a genetic memory of that. I weigh 230 right now. I have like another 20 pounds to lose, and I'll be at like my ideal weight. It's just once I'm at the ideal weight I want to be at, I want to put on some more muscle mass if I can, and that's going to require me like changing my macros a little bit. But at the moment, I only eat like 1,800 calories a day, which is good for cutting. I should be eating like 28, 29 as like my maintenance calories, but I cut out like close to 1,000 calories, and it helps me lose weight,
Next big thing is also like when we always like talk about how like grown men playing video games is another big problem. But have you ever noticed that even video game addiction is one of those things that's becoming like more classified as an addiction?
Yeah.
Because people just spend hours upon hours a day wasting their life away because they can't handle real life.
Yeah. I think video game addiction is also linked to maybe masturbation addiction too.
Yeah.
Because I know people that'll play video games all day and then they'll go masturbate for a couple hours and they'll come back to the video games, and it's like, man, just get a relationship with somebody. I don't care if it's a guy or a girl that you like to have sex with. As a guy, I don't really give a shit, or anything in between. Just try to find a relationship with somebody so you can actually be social and you won't fall into those traps,
Have you ever noticed that along with that is a lot of these people are very smart too?
Yeah.
but they're so socially awkward that their intelligence is pretty bad.
Yeah.
Like they're intelligent in their own right, like on things they learn through books and through media, but when it comes to their like social skills, it's complete trash because of their addiction to playing video games and not interacting with real humans. That's why Japanese people are weird.
Well,
I mean, that's not like, and that's also not a hit on like Japanese people entirely, but Japanese people are very weird in their dynamic to
well,
how they do life.
one of the things is like, with the girl that I've been seeing, we kind of have like not a ton of issues, but we have like the quirky issues that people deal with, right?
Yeah.
I have autism, so I'm really bad about being blunt and stating the obvious a little bit too much. And, like, I'm also a problem solver. Like earlier today, she was like, hey, I, my roommate ate my, chicken shit. She bought like a buffalo chicken pot pie type thing.
Yeah.
And she fucking ate it, which is not cool. And she was trying to find it, and I was like, in my fucking autistic brain, I'm like, okay, let me find something else for her to eat. And I fucking found that she had some sushi, and I was like, here, I found you some food to eat. And she goes, that's not the point. And I go, what do you mean? You got to eat.
Yeah.
And she was like, no, it's the principle that my shit got stolen. And I'm like, well, yeah, that is a problem, but you said you wanted to eat something. And sometimes that like is a bit of an issue sometimes, because she'll say something and I'll be like, here's the here's the solution to this problem, and here's me stating the obvious. That's not the point.
I have a problem with being petty like that as well, actually.
Yeah.
Because it's the principle of don't touch things that aren't yours.
Well, she felt bad because she felt like she was yelling at me, and I just told her, I was like, I'm just trying to help,
Yeah.
And she was just like, she's like, I'm not mad at you or anything. I was like, I know, I'm just trying to help, I'm sorry.
I mean, yeah, you're pointing out the obvious, and I will say the biggest problem of when you have that moment of pettiness is that now it consumes you, because you're just like, it's like, that motherfucker ate my chicken pot pie.
Well, and I even told her, I was like, I'll buy you another one. She's like, that's not the point. I'm like, God damn it, just let me fucking fix this,
But you see, the thing is, like, I get where she's coming from, because it's like, I don't like when people take my shit.
I mean, I get that, but getting mad about it's not going to solve the fucking problem, in my opinion.
No, it's not. It's really not. But that's usually when it's like, okay, in my opinion, to start throwing hands.
I get that, but that's what I'm saying. Like, that's just how I am, though, man. I don't.
Yeah.
I'm like I said, I'm like Mr. Captain Obvious over here, and I'm just like, here, let's do this to solve this problem. That's not the point, because I'm mad at this person. It's like, all right, well, there's their room. Go talk to them.
Yeah. That solution's a lot easier.
But you still don't have the food now, and you want to eat it. So let me fucking go get it for you. Like, and that'll solve part of that problem.
Yeah, I mean, eat their food.
Yeah. They don't have any food. That's part of the problem.
Fucking bum.
Yeah.
Damn.
But yeah, but other than that, I mean, me and her have a really good relationship.
That's good.
She's really nice to me, and I'm nice to her, and I treat her pretty well. And I don't know, like, I just don't want her to have to be so, depressed all the time, man. Because, like, sometimes she gets depressed, and I don't want her to be happy. Because, like, I don't know. I don't really feel depressed anymore since I've been on testosterone,
Ever since I've been doing all of, like, what I've been up to again, it's like, I've got some real purpose in my life. I actually feel like there's parts of my life that are getting filled in, just because I'm not wasting my time worrying about just school anymore. And I'm not wasting my time with a job, with like the biggest thing that also brought me a lot of depression and started creeping my drinking back in was when I was working at a liquor store, and that's also why I had to leave, was like, because you start becoming your environment. And I was like, you know what? Here's a simple solution. I got to leave. Sometimes it's as easy as that. Was when you realize you're in a bad place and you're surrounded by a lot of negativity that could lead you back down to your addiction points. Leave that shit. You don't need it.
Yeah.
It's different if you have a contract you're signed up to, or you legally have to be somewhere. But if you don't have a reason to be there, leave. I mean, it's not worth your life.
Absolutely. I mean, I also just noticed that when this episode drops, it'll be, it'll be the day after Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
So, happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Yeah. Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Don't eat too much, fat asses.
Yeah. And stay away from that fucking dry ass turkey.
Fucking worst bird. Like, why did someone think to themselves, you know what? I just want to eat this shitty bird. It's like the people who tell you tilapia is good.
Honestly, if you want my honest opinion, I think what happened is the settlers moved here and they didn't really have very many options for food, so they just fucking found what they wanted to find, and it sort of became a tradition to eat that fucking bird, dude.
Do you ever think that they even came across it? Like, it was like, oh, it's that time of the year again where we got to eat that shitty bird for tradition.
I think what happened is they ate it so fucking much that it sort of just became part of their tradition. It's just like, new settlers come in, they're like, oh, this bird sucks. It's like, you get used to it.
You better get used to it because that's all we have.
So, and they had to like figure out how to grow different types of crops that were not, basically they stole them from Native Americans probably.
To be honest though, I'm still always enjoying the fact when people are like, man, I don't celebrate Thanksgiving because, these people gave smallpox blankets to the Native Americans on purpose to create biological warfare. And I'm like, you're telling me the group of retards who were so set in their religious ways, that denied the science of even the time in their homeland, who were drinking salt water and burning people for being witches, knew what biological warfare is? It was like, I bet you if somebody would have mentioned germs, they would have been like, sounds like a lot of witchcraft. Let's burn him.
Yep. A lot of burning.
I'm actually kind of surprised that people were like, you know what, I think we should move to America during all that time where people are just like burning each other. It's like, yeah, America sounds like nice and sane. Let's go there.
Yeah, they like touch down. These Native Americans come out and they go, oh, the Holy Spirit or the Great Spirit be with you. And they're like, witches, let's burn them.
Burn them. Burn them now.
Yep. And they just like started burning people.
Although back in those days, they had to actually be friends with everybody because they're like, there's not that many of us, and these heathens are helping us. Yeah, when we grow in number.
Man, it must have been really awkward that these fucking heathens were like helping them so much, and then when the numbers were big enough, they were like, well, let's just kill them now.
It's time that we give them to die.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, people always say that back then always said that like Native Americans were the savages, but let's be real, the settlers were the savages.
Well, here's the thing though too, right? The biggest misconception is that they were peaceful before we got here. It's like they were stuffing each other in mass graves for fun.
I don't think Native Americans were fucking peaceful at all, dude. I don't think humans. Let's just be real. Humans in general are not peaceful beings and creatures. We're not. I mean, fuck, let's go look at the Native Americans that lived, the Mayan Native Americans. Those motherfuckers were rolling fucking heads down the goddamn.
No, it was the Aztecs.
Oh, the Aztecs. Okay.
The Aztecs were just like, if we don't appease the sun god by giving him blood, we won't be able to have another good harvest. Mm-hmm. And everyone's just like, yes, this makes perfect sense.
Yes, makes perfect sense. Get that virgin up on that little like slab up there. Let's cut his fucking heart out and let's chop his head off and roll it down the fucking hill.
This totally makes sense.
Yes, we figured it out.
We didn't do enough sacrifices. We have to start killing our firstborns.
Absolutely. Isn't that funny? Like, over in the Middle East, killing your firstborn was pretty popular, and then in a place where it's completely separate from that religion, killing your first. It seems like that was a very popular.
Killing virgins for some reason is a great way to to make the gods happy.
Well, that's my theory why they had the dragon thing, right? Because So dragons were like mythology was all over the world, and my theory is that those people found dinosaur bones, and those people came up with their own like individual like depiction of what they thought they were seeing.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is it just shows how human beings are really not that creative. They all come up with the same fucking idea. They just think about it in a different way.
We definitely have to set aside this one for another episode altogether, because like when we go down the religion hole, it's gonna be pretty deep.
Well, yeah, when we do that, I'd really like to have
People who are part of like religious organizations, maybe.
yeah, that'd be nice. That'd be pretty cool. But yeah,
But that's a very interesting segue in is like religion.
yeah,
Religion becomes an addiction for people who have nothing.
Yes.
After, like, I've noticed when people are really like a lot of people who are addicts, they like to then focus all their time that they would have spent like doing their substance
yeah.
on religion a lot of the times.
Well, they trade one addiction for another addiction.
Yeah.
You know, I've known so many, like my sister is, that happened to my sister. My sister basically like went to this rehab program, which is a religious one, I think, because most of them are.
Yeah.
And she did the 12-step program, which is very religious. And basically, like the other night, like about a week ago, she was like, "Oh, Wes, I just want your soul to be good, and I want you to be okay." And I'm just like, Brittany, why are you talking to me about this again? And she goes, "Well, I just thought maybe you would change your mind this time." I'm like, Brittany, I've been an atheist since I was a kid, dude. What makes you think that I'm going to change my mind like now? Like, she's like, "Well, because maybe if you open your heart." I'm like, my heart is a fucking muscle that pumps blood throughout my body. I was like, if you're talking about my emotions, that's my fucking brain. I was like, so you're saying I need to open my mind to religion? And she's like, if you could. And I'm like, Brittany, that makes no fucking sense.
It's so
logically to me.
It's so what I've noticed is like it's so weird for someone like myself, because it's like I believe in God, but at the same time, like when I listen to people like talk about their religion with me, I'm just like, after a while, it gets kind of weird.
But it sounds like an addiction to her, like to her though, because like I told her, I was like, it sounds like, Brittany, what you did is you traded your alcohol addiction for an addiction to religion. And I told her, I was like, the reason why you quit drinking wasn't because of that religion. You quit drinking because you quit drinking. I was like, nobody made you quit.
See, and the crazy part is like it also seems like there's a competition to see who's gonna like get that person.
Well, here's the thing. I told her, I was like, Brittany, how did I quit drinking by myself? And she goes, I don't know. I was like, I went to a professional. I went to a fucking psychologist, and he helped me. He told me how to quit drinking alcohol. He taught me how to do it. It's not that hard. You don't need fucking religion to quit drinking.
I remember that there was one religious station on television that was talking about like a dad who was like drunk and beating the shit out of his whole family. And apparently the story is like his daughter comes home and she's like, if you just accept Jesus Christ in your life, you'll stop drinking and stop beating mommy and me. I'm like, I don't know. It feels like you should probably like, press charges the next time he does that.
Yeah, I wouldn't. There would be no like conversation. It would be press charges against him. He's being a piece of shit.
Yeah, it's like because what happens when daddy like falls off the wagon again and just decides to kill you and mommy?
Yeah, he's not gonna have any control that time. No self control.
He's gonna be severely like. I mean, like once you let somebody like that relapse, it always ends up violent.
Every time, right?
Yeah, and it's either they like violently kill themselves, or then they do the combination where they kill their family and themselves, or they just kill their family. Mm-hmm. It's never a good. It's never a good time. Anytime you go to a situation like that,
that's really sad, man.
It is. But hey, like I said, it's like when you look at people like you being an atheist, you deal with like people trying to get like save your soul, and everybody's trying to get me to like convert to their form of like Christianity or whatever bullshit they believe in.
The thing is, like, when she was trying to have that conversation with me, I just told her, I was like, look, man, you've known me my whole life, and I know you're only doing this because you went to your little program. And I told her, I was like, the program doesn't mean shit to me. And I told her, I was like, I quit drinking because I wanted to quit. I quit drinking alcohol because there are better things to do in life than drink. I mean,
like honestly, it's like like I said, it's like that.
And honestly, I think that should be the motivation enough for somebody.
I mean, usually what's nice is like when you hear like people, is like when I hear about my friends who like get back into the religion, and I'm just happy for them. You know what I mean? But that's not because that they were suffering from like addiction, because they're not the ones who are pushy about it. It's always like the people who just fought like a heroin or drug or alcohol addiction, and now their whole identity is wrapped around saving the planet.
Hey man, I quit drinking, man. It was because of Jesus Christ. It's like, all right, dude. Like,
all right, then why are you in here?
Exactly.
Like, I mean, working at the liquor store, you hear about like all these guys like, so now I only drink one handle a week. It's like, what are you talking about, Jim? You've been here 3 times already.
It's like, no, I didn't.
No, I didn't. All right, Jim.
All right, Jim.
No, you weren't.
All right. Thanks, Jim. We'll see you next time.
See you next week.
We'll probably be like in a couple days.
We're gonna put this. I'm gonna set the clock and see when you come in.
Yeah, and I love my sister, man. She just, I don't know. I told her, I was like, look, like, 'cause she was trying to talk. This is what she said to me. She's like, I think it's the end times, is what she said. And I said, why do you think it's the end times? And she goes, because things seem so like crazy nowadays. And I go, Brittany, things are safer nowadays than they've ever been. I hate to break it to you. I was like, she goes, well, the 1950s seemed a lot safer. I was like, they were not.
They were probably a lot worse.
They were 100 times worse than they were now. You just didn't see it as much because you didn't have social media in your face. It's like, Brittany, get the fuck off social media. Get the fuck off the internet. Quit looking at shit, because that's going to fucking poison your mind. I was like, if you can't handle looking at stuff that happens every day, you don't need to look at it. And you need to, and like I told her, I was like, we're not in the end times. It's not close yet. Like, if you think that's what it is, I don't think. I told her, I was like, I don't even think the end times are going to be what you think they are. If something ever was to happen, it wouldn't be because of religion. It would be because we blow ourselves up from a war.
Is it bad though at times that you kind of miss the you kind of miss the Cold War? Just like so that
mutual destruction.
Yeah, it was like we want to, but we're not gonna.
So we could destroy them commies over there. Commies are like, yes, comrade, we could kill you too, but they don't
definitely kill you. But we don't want to. We just choose not to every day.
Yeah, instead we'll fight these little tiny wars in these other countries, and it's you know what it makes me think of. It makes me think of like this is a really broad like comparison of the United States and USSR from back in the day. The United States was like a husband, and the USSR was like a fucking passive aggressive girlfriend.
Yeah,
the passive aggressive girlfriend would go to this other country and be like, meh. And like we'd be like, and we'd go over there and be like, meh. And that country'd be like, oh fuck,
oh god, what's happening? What do we do? I don't know. Mom and Dad are fighting again.
I don't know. That makes me but that definitely makes me think of what
like a 1950s alcoholic parent.
Yeah.
And like dad's like drinking martinis at 6 a.m. And mom's already popped about 52 Quaaludes.
Yeah. And they're like over in South Vietnam, like
it's like the wife just like the husband's like, I asked for steak, you get chicken. Throws the plate on the ground. Vietnam's like, oh god, what are we doing?
What are we doing now?
Can we have our own country? No.
Like both countries are like,
who the fuck do you think you are? There's gonna be a North and a South, and one of you is gonna have to win. But we don't want to. You're going to have to win. One of you is the favorite child, and we're not telling you which. Dad's just like over in South Vietnam. Don't worry. I love you more. Mom, North Vietnam. No, I love you more than I love South Vietnam. For communism, win this one, Timmy.
Because that's how North Korea came to be, right? It was because of like North Korea. It came to be because of the USSR, right?
North Korea. Yeah, North Korea. That's what. Actually, the North Korean situation happened without the USSR's real knowing until like it really popped off, because North Korea was so weaponized by the Chinese government. I mean, dude, that was a whole shit show on its own because the United States, the North Koreans and the South Koreans hated each other so much that the U.S. was like, yeah, we're gonna have to take away all your guns.
Was that ever like? Were they ever just one country at one time?
Yeah, before the Japanese fucked it up.
Yeah, that's crazy to me.
Yeah, no, the Japanese in the early 1900s came in.
How has the world not gone in there and just gotten rid of North Korea?
Because of China.
Really, China? Like, why does China want them around?
Just, they're there.
But that doesn't make any sense.
You know, it's like having a little brother. That is like you can.
Yeah,
like,
but I'm pretty sure China doesn't even really like North Korea that much.
They're there.
Yeah.
It's kind of like it's kind of like having your wingman.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, or you have that. You always keep that one friend around in your group because it's like, hey, we are all assholes, guys. But North Korea, he's the biggest asshole of them all, and it takes a lot of heat off of us. So let's just keep him there. We have to keep him in the group.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, technically China could just roll in and be like, this is ours now.
Yeah. I don't know why they don't do that.
Because just that's the thing, though. It's like why does anything just happen or not happen?
Yeah.
It's like, but then you have to think about it, right? It's like North Vietnam did that. They're like, the Americans leave and they're like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's attack it. What is this peace treaty going to matter?
No.
I was like, what are they going to do? Come back?
Come back. We'll see. Oh, come on.
Hey, guys, we're leaving. Oh, no.
Oh, no, don't go. Okay. All right, cool.
They're gone.
It's kind of like what happened over in it was Afghanistan, right?
The Afghanistan thing, though, is like really fucked up because, geez, like, I can't talk about this stuff without getting in trouble. So we're gonna avoid that one altogether until like 2024,
Yeah.
when I'm allowed to talk more shit. But
when the next election happens.
yeah, but yeah, dude. Like the worst part is we funneled so much. Like the worst part is we funneled so much money into training the Afghanis that they just gave up.
I don't get why they just gave up so easily.
They're pussies.
They could have probably won if they really fought.
They could have, but the thing is that like when we were over there, this is another thing. Like most of them are addicted to fucking heroin, dude.
Yeah,
they do heroin religiously.
Well, now that the Taliban's like running that country again, what has it been? What's it like there now?
Drug addiction is on an all-time low when the drug addicts are killed by the Taliban.
Wow. Okay. Interesting. And that's it?
Yeah, that's the Taliban solution to everything. If we don't like it, we kill it.
Yeah. Are they oppressing women again?
Apparently that's a lot harder now.
Oh, they changed their mind about that?
No, they're just not sure what to do because
women have their rights now and women want those rights.
Yeah.
And it would be probably a lot of a hassle to try to make them.
Well, no, the problem is now they're actually I think they're killing them too. They've just decided to kill them.
Damn.
That's why I said the thing about Afghanistan is that you're never going to change. Like one of my buddies said it best, right? The rest of the country cannot be changed, like from their tribal ways, but like all the urban centers, you can actually sort of like give them civilization and democracy, because it even says like when they first had the king. I mean, he kind of fucked that country up too.
Yeah.
With a lot of his conflicting motivations, but you know, the urban centers never had these like real problems. But the problem is when you have the Taliban itself, which is operating outside, like within the rural country, you're gonna have those issues. But in all honesty, too, the biggest thing was that a lot of these guys are fucked up on drugs.
Yeah.
Versus the other guy, versus the all the other extremist groups, you know, they don't believe in drug use.
Yeah, makes sense. But we're actually at the 1 minute mark, my friend.
Oof.
Yeah.
So did we learn anything?
I think we learned that drug addiction and alcohol addiction can suck, but you know, as long as you try to do it in moderation, I think you'd be all right.
Yeah, it usually comes out but just don't do heroin in moderation. That's bad advice.
Well, I mean, you can't. I mean, you
die.
Well, you want more, and that's how you get addicted.
Yeah, just don't ever listen to anybody who tells you pills and hard drugs you can do in like moderation.
Nah, there's no way.
Just die at that point.
Yeah, you're just gonna pass away. But yeah, just like the DARE officer tried to do back in the day, don't do drugs. Say no to drugs. That didn't work, by the way.
A lot of us ended up doing drugs and
anyway,
getting into weird shit.
Yeah, but just be mindful of what you're doing, man. Drinking and stuff. It can really overwhelm you if you're not too careful. But
and you also have a drinking problem when you start putting beer in your backyard.
Absolutely, when you start burying it out back. But yeah. Anyway,
gold out in these hills.
Gold out in these hills, liquid gold. Be sure to rate, subscribe. Be sure to please give us a comment. We really appreciate it. It's really good for the YouTube algorithm. Be sure to hit that bell icon, and you'll get notified every time we upload something new. As I was saying, sorry the clips haven't been uploaded. I've just been very busy lately. Me and Nick are trying to find a solution for that right now because we're pretty busy. Because recording the podcast and editing the podcast is enough already. We also have to do marketing on top of that. So.
And we also have lives because you guys aren't subscribing enough and giving us money. Yeah,
so it's kind of hard to devote like a ton of time, but we're at least doing every episode every Friday, so at least we have something coming out. Just also check out our website. We got our merch there and all the other good stuff, and the more you guys subscribe and the bigger we grow, the more we can do. So, as usual. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode, and stay tuned for our next episode. And we're going to try to have a guest again next time.
Yeah. So maybe Satan will be back.
He's
been busy too.
And happy Thanksgiving. Late Thanksgiving, I guess now. But yeah. So
stay sexy, Atlanta.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Dumb, Cool, and Weird podcast with Wes and Nick. If you want to check out more of our stuff, go to www.dumbcoolweird.com. You'll find our Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, and Patreon link if you want to support us. Also, be sure to check out our merch store. And if you're interested in being on our podcast, you can find a link on our website so you can reach out to us and tell us if you want to talk to us about something that's really weird, dumb, or cool. We'd be glad to hear from you. Hope you will stay tuned for the next weird ass episodes we got. Thank you.